afternoon, everyone. I'm Commissioner Robert Patrick. Welcome to Public Works and Infrastructure, the greatest show on earth. I am joined by our presiding officer and Commissioner for District 4, Commissioner Shakira Johnson, as well as Commission District 3, Nicole Messiah. Thank you, colleagues, for being here. Unfortunately, our good friend of the county, is leaving us, but we're grateful either way. Joking aside, let's get down into some of the business. First item before us is our minutes, agenda item 2026-0254. This is for all commission districts. Minutes for the January 2026 Public Works and Infrastructure Committee meeting. And if commissioners are comfortable, I'll open the floor for a motion on this.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, we got the hard part done. All right, moving on. We've got under new agenda items, we have agenda item 2026-0198. This is for Commission Districts 1 and Super 7. Although it says Northwoods Historic District, I think it might actually be Fleetwood Hills. If we could have someone come speak, Director Allen? Good afternoon, it's good to see you. Oh, you might have to hit the button.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, this one is the sign toppers, and it's for the historic district. The community reached out to us, and they wanted to add some sign toppers to the neighborhood that they already had some installed in, and so we shared the process with them, and they submitted all of the required information, and we're coming to the board for approval.
Okay, perfect. One question, any questions, commissioners? All right, one question I do have is are we going to be replacing the older street signs with the new, I guess, highly reflective green and white, or green backgrounds with the white lettering?
That is a part of what we're doing countywide, but it may not coincide with the new sign toppers in this district.
Okay. Is there a way to help it coincide?
We can check, but we're looking at about 100,000 signs to replace, so
Okay.
we're looking at it.
Okay. Thank you, Director.
Okay.
Commissioners, any questions?
I did have a question, just on general process. For the street toppers, is that a collective design? Who comes up with, it's a good design, I like it. Who comes up with the design for that?
The neighborhood comes up with the design. They do submit it to us for approval based on, we have to make sure it's a good sign. And size. Size is important because it's going to be placed on top of our existing street name sign. So it's a neighborhood collaboration. They come up with the design, and they actually hire their own vendors to do the installation.
Understood. Okay, that was my next question. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Messiah?
I appreciate that, Mr. Chair. So they do their own installation, and essentially we're just paying for the actual sign itself?
The county does not fund any part of this operation. They pay for everything, and they're also required to have insurance should their vendor do damage to our existing signs.
Fantastic, because I saw no cost to the county, but I'm also seeing some insurance, as you were mentioning, I guess presumably from Selective Insurance, just in case they do some damage, and I'm seeing the cost on that. So there's no additional cost for us for them to go out there and to update the signs at all? Like there's no additional insurance liability at all?
No, the insurance is for the liability for any damage they may do to our street name signs, but they won't be updating any signs. They'll just be placing their new design on top of our existing street name signs.
All right, and that doesn't increase our premium at all?
No.
Okay, fantastic, love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
I did have
go ahead.
one more question. So just to confirm, so basically this agenda item is granting that permission?
Yes.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
And just for clarification on my own part, yes, I see the design they have is for historic Northwoods as opposed to Fleetwood Hills. Commissioner, any questions or concerns? This is for the sign toppers in Districts 1 and Super 7. This is going to be the unincorporated Fleetwood Hills area, but they're going with the Northwoods Historic District designation for their sign toppers. And again, as Director Allen was telling us, there is no cost to the county. The vendor will be, they have their own vendor who will be doing the installation, and they've also given us a copy of their insurance card. So if there's an issue, we can come back and say, hey, you're fixing our signs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It does. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I don't have.
You're good. Okay. All right. If seeing no other questions or concerns, open the floor for a motion.
Move to approve item ending in 10198. I'm sorry.
Second.
All right. Go ahead and we got proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. We have agenda item 2026-0213. This is countywide. Reimbursement for traffic sign equipment relocations, upgrades, recycling, and damage. Director Allen.
Yes. Typically, we have damage to traffic sign and signal infrastructure.
Yep.
And the people responsible are required to repay us for the work that we have to do to replace the damaged material. So this is to recoup that money from those people and put the funding into the account that we use to purchase the equipment. So it's one that we come to the board several times a year.
Opening up to the commissioners on the committee. Any questions, any concerns? Nope. Commissioner Bolton, any questions, concerns?
No, sir.
Nope. All right. Then I'll open the floor for a motion.
Motion. Go ahead.
Move to approve item ending in 0213.
Second.
All right, proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, we have agenda item 2024-0214. This is countywide. Request for funding from the Georgia Department of Transportation for the fiscal year 2026 Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant, LMIG. Cost to the county, $20 million. Director?
Yes, this is our standard request to the Georgia Department of Transportation for LMIG funding. The 2026 appropriation is $4.9 million. And actually, the grant was approved by the state last week.
Perfect, perfect. Commissioners, any questions? And I'll note that there is a list of the proposed streets here. In legible font. Thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Masai?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And just so I understand, because I thought it was a grant, so is it a grant coming in? Is there a match? Because I'm seeing cost of the county $20 million.
Yes, there is a match, and the match is a 30% match. But because of the number of miles the DeKalb County resurfaces each year, our match goes well over the 30%.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the questions I had. Thank you so much,
And that's a great
Director.
question. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner, any questions?
Yes, sir. So just to confirm, looking at this, it looks like we're going to be paving just under 25 miles?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And can we get this list emailed to us separately?
Yes.
Your preference is to have that in an Excel file, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Commissioner Bolton, any comments, questions, concerns on the 2026 LMIG list of roads?
No, sir.
Nope. She got your question, okay. Commissioners, that said, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we got a proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on.
Thank you.
We have, thank you, Director. Moving on, we have at the top of page 2, agenda item 2026-0247. This is for all commission districts. Change order number 4 to contract number 1214031, Granite Rubble Stone annual contract with 2 options to renew for use by the Departments of Watershed Management, Recreation, Parks and Cultural Affairs, and Public Works, Roads and Drainage. This contract consists of the purchase of granite rubble stone used to address erosion and erosion control issues. This request seeks to increase the contract funds and term through December 31st, 2026, awarded to Bedrock Granite Company, Incorporated, amount not to exceed $925,000. Director Wells, good to see you.
Likewise, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
This item is not only used for watershed, but other departments as well. But ultimately, we use rock to stabilize stream banks, work locations where we may disturb the natural vegetation. For us, being that a number of our assets are off the roadway, sometimes it requires rock to stabilize to get the equipment down and retrieve whatever it is we need to do, the assignments, and get staff back safely. So it's something that we use routinely throughout our response to the county. Responsibilities not in just watershed throughout the county.
Right, yep, all right. Commissioners, any questions or concerns? No?
Nope.
Nope. It's just rocks?
It's just rocks.
It's just rocks.
Rocks are important.
Okay, all right.
Important rock.
Important rocks, but rocks nonetheless. Okay. Well, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Motion to approve item 0247.
Second.
All right, proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, we got that approved. Director, we got another one for you. Agenda item 2026-0212. This is for Commission Districts 1 and Super 7. Agreement for the construction and financing of sewer upgrades with JWC Tucker LLC with a contribution of $25,000. What can you share about this one?
Yes, sir. So in order for some developments to go forward, it necessitates certain upgrades to infrastructure, of course, at the cost of the development, but because it is public infrastructure, we'll complete the work, and ultimately the developer will then have to reimburse us for said work to facilitate that development. In this case, JWC Tucker is seeking to build about 58 housing units at off of La Vista Road in Tucker, Georgia.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions, any comments, concerns? We've had a couple of these contracts over the years, and
Absolutely.
sort of routine.
Pretty routine at this point.
And you said 50 homes?
58.
58 homes. I see it now.
Yes, it should be in the,
It's in the NEDA impact. I didn't see it at first.
yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Good, all right. Unless there's any other questions or concerns, I'll open the floor up for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, again, proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. This is under the Board of Commissioners, and thank you, Director Wells. Board of Commissioners, Super District 7, Agenda Item 2026-0224, Commission District Number 7, to adopt an ordinance to establish a community-driven process that allows residents to select 5 miles of roadway to be designated for repaving as the People's Choice selection.
Yes, sir.
I was about to say Director. Commissioner, if you wouldn't mind, share your idea with us.
Absolutely. And so I did speak with commissioners just to get an idea of where everybody was with respect to their residents and when it comes to road resurfacing. And this and it should say adopt a resolution, so we're going to have to update that. It's a couple other things that will need to be updated as well. But in any case, what we would like to do, because we get so many concerns from residents about participating in the process and having influence, if, for example, we could dedicate 5 miles, the suggestion was 5%, of the number of roads that we intend to resurface every year, that we allow some input for a small portion of that to come from the community. We don't want to take away from the rating system that we normally have. It is very fair, it's very transparent, and we still want to use that rating system as a part of the process. So, and I'll just give an example, and this, of course, is for full discussion amongst all of my peers and the administration, but it's for consideration. But the example is, say, for example, we have enough funds to resurface 200 roads, or 200 miles, of roads. So 5 of those 200, or 5% of those 200, because they have already ranked, they're still a part of the system that we're already using. If we can put a short list together, give it to our citizen group, and allow them to vote on 5 miles or 5% of road that they believe should be considered to be paved, because normally maybe they wouldn't have fallen into the scope of what we would have approved for that year. So just a small portion, a small selection, whatever that number might look like, giving citizens some input or influence. I would suggest that maybe for this, we consider some of those main orgs, those main arteries that maybe didn't make the list for the year, but maybe residents, an abundance of residents have communicated that they want to see that paved. If the citizens group voted to have it paved, then that can be considered with the exhaustive list that ultimately the board would approve to be repaved in that given year.
All right. I think that's a good description of what the ask is. I'll say for myself, there have been roads that the county has said deemed to be in dire need of paving, and I agree. But there was also a couple opportunities for maybe a little side road or extra portion to it that I thought would be helpful if it could be addressed as well. I see our Chief Operating Officer as well as our Director. Please.
Yes, and then thank you, Mr. Chair, and then thank you for the item, Commissioner Bolton, Dr. Bolton. So, a couple things. I want to just start with the understanding that we had both with SPLOST 1 and SPLOST 2 in terms of how the evaluation process and how the funding was going to work. And that was clearly based on a worst first scenario based on the ratings, as you've articulated, Dr. Bolton. My concern with trying to implement something other than that is that we have kind of made a commitment as to how we would go about identifying the roads that would be paved. But there is possibly an opportunity, and I don't know if it would be through this exact mechanism, but understand that each of the commissioners, I believe in SPLOST 1 and 2, was allocated discretionary funding, I think tune of about $1 million. Don't quote me, but I'm usually pretty close. That the understanding, quite frankly, was there are going to be those district issues that commissioners will have identified that may not be on, whether it's a road paving list, a sidewalk list, or something, based on the criteria of worst first that the commissioners deem, they want to spend in their district. So my suggestion would be that we did not modify the objective rating criteria that we've used to identify the 300 miles in SPLOST 1, I believe 200 miles in SPLOST 2, but instead the board, if you're interested in doing something like this, you look to that $1 million that each district has been allocated as basically discretionary spending. Those are my thoughts.
And how much road can we get?
One
Can
mile.
each get? Oh, say.
About a mile.
So we
About
can
about a
get 1 mile.
Yeah, so that'd be about 7 miles.
1 mile per commissioner, right?
1 mile per $1 million.
Okay. And if we all spent our $1 million in 2026, would we get another $1 million in 2027?
That was a SPLOST allocation, SPLOST specific allocation. So those are SPLOST funds. Other discretionary funding, I don't know that I've seen commissioners use other discretionary funds for roads just because it's so expensive. So I would think that you would use SPLOST funding and you would not necessarily want to use other discretionary for that sort of thing. You could, but it doesn't go very far. $1 million is going to get you a mile.
Okay. And just for clarity, the 200 is for the lifetime of SPLOST 2.
That's correct.
Okay. And if we were to do, one suggestion was 5%. What's 5% of 200? 10?
Yes.
10 miles? Can we get 10 miles?
Well, we can negotiate with the people who put down the asphalt. The pricing, interesting enough, when we first started it, it was about $500,000 a mile, but this goes back 7-8 years. I mean, the pricing is kind of where it is right now.
Okay. So there is essentially you're saying there's no negotiation for us to include the community in participating in this process.
What I would articulate as it relates to road paving, the money is, primarily in our SPLOST allocation. We committed to the residents with SPLOST 1 and SPLOST 2 that there would be an objective criteria that is basically worst first, where we rate all the roads, and wherever you fall is when the road will be paved. So introducing something different to that process makes us kind of contradict what we had originally said.
Okay. And I do just want to iterate, we're not deviating from the system. It's for those main arteries that fall within, what is the number, 30 plus, or whatever that, whatever that minimum
Typically worse
is.
than 30, 29, 30, yeah. typically.
Okay, so whatever that minimum is, it would still be a road that is rated to be paved. It didn't make the cut based on what was recommended by the vendor. And looking at, I would recommend, I know Commissioner Patrick did indicate some of those roads that have gaps, but if it was some of the main arteries that didn't make the cut for this specific list, if we could put together a short list that the community could essentially vote on, and when I say community, the Citizens Board could vote on to say, can these be included?
Okay, you're talking, when you say the citizen, you're talking about the SPLOST, the Citizens Advisory Group?
Yes.
Okay. Right, and then that too is kind of changing the dynamic. When you set up that group, it wasn't voting on projects. So it's a couple of things that we have made, you as a board and the governing authority has made certain policy statements. So I think the most consistent with the policy that you've already implemented would be looking at the discretionary funds that you currently have.
And Director Allen, you wanted to say something?
I just wanted to respond to a question that I thought I heard you mentioning. For instance, the list that we just approved, the LMIG, that was 25 miles. The 200 miles of SPLOST list, we chop those up into different projects. So that entire 200 miles will be covered under SPLOST, but it's just a project at a time. 25 miles, 30 miles, that amount of miles at a time. So all of those streets on that project list are subject to, they're gonna work their way up to be resurfaced. So we won't stop with just that one. There's gonna be a number of projects assigned to different contractors, one chunk at a time, to get through that 200 miles.
Okay. And one of the considerations for this is that whether those main arteries are considered a bit differently than residential roads because they're traveled more frequently, and residents feel like they're not seeing those main arteries being paved in consistently with how quickly they're being damaged. Because I know sometimes we consider when they were last paved and not just the condition of the road. So this was in effect to help with that as well. So if those more frequently traveled roads, if it was recently paved, but it's traveled so much by 18-wheelers, folks, whatever, and now residents are wanting it to be repaved again, but it didn't make the cut because it was recently paved, the People's Choice could help kind of bring it up on the list based on the condition.
Commissioner, that's a good question. And actually, those main arteries are evaluated annually, just like the residential streets. So even if a main artery gets more wear and tear, that next year's evaluation, we'll move it up on the list. If it gets more wear and tear than a residential street, just by virtue of the rating, it will move up on the list.
Okay. All right. So what I heard is we're going to get $1 million each year for each district to supplement what you're telling me no to in this resolution.
So you have $1 million in SPLOST. Yes.
Commissioner, I like your politics. To my colleagues on the committee, are there any questions or comments? Commissioner Masai?
Yes, and could you just briefly share with us, on average, how many road, either paving or repaving projects that we actually have going on at any given time during the year or start?
Yes, Commissioner, that's a good question. Usually in the spring and summer months, we can have 4 separate contracts operating at one time. In the winter months, there's not a lot of resurfacing because of the weather. But we have that LMIG contract, and we have 3 other contracts in the hopper making its way to you.
All right.
That's a good point. And each contract, as COO Williams stated, is a bundle of projects. So that LMIG list that you just approved, that will be awarded as one contract, one bundle. And then we'll take the next highest rated list of streets, bundle those into an additional contract. And that's how we're doing bundle and contract.
Appreciate that. And just also for the benefit of the public, just to understand, on average, how long is it taking for our road paving or repaving projects for one project to get completed?
Well, that actually depends. Depends on the contractor, the amount of equipment they have, and the length of miles that they have to resurface. You know, some of them, the contract is an annual contract, so they're given a year to complete the contract. Some of them complete it in much shorter time, and some of them require a little longer to get through.
Fantastic. Well, that exhausts my questions. Thank you so much, Director Allen. I yield back to you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Johnson, any questions?
Not so much a question as a statement. I do appreciate Dr. Bolton's attempt. We get, probably all of us commissioners, we get calls and emails and complaints of why hasn't my road been paid, why hasn't my road been paid, and we give them the rating, and that doesn't satisfy them because then, well, it hasn't been paved in 30 years. You know, we get the whole run of everything. So I see this as her attempt to try and find a way to make sure the residents understand that we're hearing them and we're understanding and trying to get additional roads paved. Maybe some more thought, maybe we can get that $1 million in the general fund budget for each commission, and we could do it that way. I do understand what COO Williams was saying about the way SPLOST committee is set up and the way our policies have been on with the rating and how we make sure roads are elevated to being paved. But I do think if we could find some type of solution that lets us commissioners look better with our constituents, but also makes the county look better, and that we're actually listening to them. So I believe that's the spirit in which Commissioner Bolton was bringing this forward. I yield. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Masad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Just one additional quick question. And so what is the best mechanism, again, for the public to be able to follow the roads that are in the hopper as present or ones that may be coming up?
Well, once a contract is awarded, those roads will be appearing on the county website. So they'll be able to track them and the status of completion on the website, or they can either contact our SPLOST management team or my office, and we will, advise them of where they are on the list, if they made this contract. But again, they want to see them, and they begin to see them once a contract is awarded. That's when they're placed on the website.
Okay. And so that's essentially the SPLOST aspect of the website?
Yes.
Okay. All right, fantastic.
If I make
Yes, sir, COO, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. And so, and we've discussed in the past, we're in the process of revamping our overall website. So that stuff is going to be much easier to find ongoing projects on the county's website in the very near future.
All right. And how often are we updating it presently, just so that, again, to Commissioner Bolton's point,
The
and
SPLOST is evergreen.
Johnson.
So the SPLOST, they have full-time people whose job it is to stay on top of the various projects.
all right, because, and I'm not sure, I believe Commissioner Bolton, we might have had the similar constituents, calling and asking, and they've made some requests into the administration as well, and so we just want to be able to provide them with, as much information as we can, while what Commissioner Bolton also tried to, address as much as she could, providing an opportunity for the public to weigh in. We want to make sure that they have access to the information, and so essentially we have it, they need it. So thank you. I yield back to you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much.
Okay. Commissioner Bolton.
I will say, I have no problem with you guys withdrawing this item, but I do want to ask, just based on what you mentioned before, is it safe to say there is maybe a group of roads that are consistently on the list, consistently being paved because the frequency of use, so they're in need of repair more frequently, which means there is a select group of roads that have not been paved in 30 years or more because of the other ones that are needing repairs more often?
Well, I would say that, prior to SPLOST, we only were able to pave 25 miles of road per year with the LMIG funding.
Yeah.
So we kind of got behind the 8 ball. So once SPLOST arrived and we started out with 300 miles, which was SPLOST 1, they gave us an opportunity to try to catch up. So there were a lot of streets on the list that indeed have not been paved in over 30 years. And we took care of that first 300 miles of those streets with SPLOST 1. SPLOST 2 is going to take care of another 200 miles of those streets that have not been resurfaced in a quite a long time. But now we're able to, with the ratings, all of the really bad streets are working their way up to the top. When we first started, if you're familiar with our rating system, streets on the SPLOST 1 list were rated 35, which was really, really bad. 35 means you got to rebuild the entire road. Now, if you look at that list that you have for LMIG, you'll see those ratings have dropped significantly. There are no streets rated that high any longer, and with each contract, the rating number of the streets go down. So the condition of our road network is improving with each contract that we let.
And to clarify, so once we have addressed all the roads that meet the rating minimum there are still some that may not meet that minimum that haven't been paved in 30 years. Are we going to reevaluate those, or they just won't get paved because they don't meet the rating?
No, we're gonna evaluate roads every year, and we're gonna continue to pave and continue to go down that list until we've gotten to a rating that we can say all of our streets in DeKalb County are very good. We're not there yet, but we're gonna keep every contract, we're getting a little bit better. So we're not gonna stop paving.
Okay. You kind of didn't answer the question, but I appreciate your response.
I'm sorry, I'll try again if you could restate it. I wasn't. Oh. Yes, like the COO mentioned, we review every road every year. So a street that has been on the list and it may not have met the rating this year, it's going to continue to get worse. So it will meet the rating. All streets start at 0, and they get 1, 2, 3, 20, 25, 30. So they all start at 0 and then work their way back up the list. So we will eventually get to those streets.
Okay. Is it okay if I reiterate one more time?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll use my street, for example. My street is not a 30 or higher by any means, but it has not been repaved since it was developed in the early 90s. And my road by no means is perfect, but it doesn't meet the rate minimum, what the minimum is. Because it doesn't meet the minimum, and I would imagine over the next 5 years, it still won't meet whatever that minimum number is. Will there be an opportunity for my road to get paved considering it does not meet that 30 or whatever the number will be?
Yes, Commissioner, I think I do understand your question now. Yes, because that minimum is dropping.
Okay, we
minimum
change
is
what that
dropping.
is each year?
Yes.
Okay.
It's getting lower. We pave a 34 this year. Next year, we're paving 33s. Next year, 32s. The minimum is dropping. So eventually, that new minimum will be where your street will be, and it'll be below 30. And that'll be soon, because we're getting to be below 30 with our ratings and resurfacing.
Okay, I think that addresses essentially what I was attempting to get out here. There was a concern for streets like the one that I just described. They don't meet the minimum. In the coming years, they may not. So the fear was that they would not. So folks wanted an opportunity to vote and say, this much time has passed, there are imperfections. Okay, I gotcha. Thank you. I yield back.
Okay. Commissioner Masai.
I'm sorry, just really briefly, Mr. Chair. As it relates to roads that have not, or streets that have not been paved, because there, particularly in South DeKalb, a number of the constituents that have shared just areas of danger is what they've communicated. Cedar Grove area out there, just there's one gentleman that will come to the town hall and always speak to the fact that, well, from his contention, that it's really dangerous. People have to essentially jump out of the way sometimes with vehicles. How do we assess, or where in the assessment do streets that are unpaved come in? How do they factor and how do they fare in? How do we, make a determination as to when they finally get paved?
When you say unpaved, you mean just needing to be paved, or you mean a dirt road?
A dirt road that hasn't been paved, sidewalk, or lack thereof, for instance.
That will be something, if you're aware of a dirt road or something like that, if you'd send that to us, because that would take a little design work. We wouldn't just go out and put asphalt on a dirt road. That would be design, drainage, stuff like that.
Okay.
So if there's a situation like that, let us know, because that would be a design project. But streets that are in bad condition, haven't been resurfaced yet, just let us know, because we do regular maintenance.
Okay.
So if there's a bad area, we'll go out and take care of that.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. I yield back to Mr. Chair.
All right. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to clarify on the regular maintenance, that would include like the potholes and filling of potholes?
Yes, ma'am, potholes and small patches and sometimes large patches.
Understood. Thank you.
I've heard rumors there's commissioners that drive around with a video camera on their car and get the postal box as well as the pothole and then report it to staff.
That has.
You ever heard of something like that?
That has happened.
It has happened, yeah. Okay.
I would love to know who that was. It was not me. I am not that bad.
The residents in District 1 let you know when you're not doing your job, so I got on the stick quickly. Commissioner Bolton, is there anything else you'd like to add? No? Okay, commissioners, I'll open the floor for a motion at this time.
So at the pleasure of the sponsor, I move to withdraw item 0224.
Second.
We got a proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, commissioners, we're going to move on. Let me hop back here right quick. We are moving on to Department of Watershed Management. Director Wells, this is for agenda item 2025-1265, all commission districts. I'll read this one out. I think we're still waiting on Mr. Campbell's audit report, but this is a low bid invitation number 25-100070, consent decree, ongoing sewer condition assessment and rehabilitation. For use by the Department of Watershed Management, consists of performing consent decree assignments along with meeting the urgent needs that arise from operational events of the sewer system. Recommend award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders, Chemi Construction Company Incorporated, Southeast Pipe Survey Incorporated, total amount not to exceed $49,752,501 and no cents, I might add.
Correct. Thank you, sir. And actually, we're expecting a reduction through
Oh, perfect.
partnering with PNC. We were
Yay.
able to ultimately talk to one of the vendors that we felt could do better for the county, and
Okay.
I think we've successfully done that. And I asked for a two-week deferral
Okay.
to allow us to work that through and also get it through audit, but I think we'll
Understood.
come with some promising news.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Not sure if there's any questions, but if there's any questions, the Director's here.
No question.
If not, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Move to defer item 1265 for 2 weeks.
Second.
Got proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right. Page 3, at the top, agenda item 2026-0103. This is for all commission districts. Another low bid invitation, number 2025-098, ITB CD trunks. Shoal Creek Section 1 for use by the Department of Waste Management consists of providing construction services to replace Section 1 of the Shoal Creek trunk sewer and all necessary appurtenances. Recommend award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders, JDS Incorporated, amount not to exceed $51,486,473.55. Director Wells.
Absolutely, and this one did finally come from, supported from audit. It took some time due to the complexity of the project as well as the amount, but ultimately worth the wait. Ultimately, this is a first of a number of sewer trunk projects that are required under consent decree. We ultimately will be replacing some existing 36-inch to 60-inch pipe with 72-inch.
Nice.
A little, just shy of 4 miles, about 3.8 miles. And we're pretty excited. And it's worth mentioning the total price is really just shy of 46.5 mil. There's a $5 million incentive if ultimately the construction is completed ahead of schedule. Due to the importance of the consent decree and timing, we felt it warranted. And again, this is a first for the county, and we're excited to be doing this great work for the county.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great to hear. Commissioners, Commissioner Johnson?
I do have a nerdy question. So even the 36-inch is getting upgraded to 72?
Yes.
Oh, that's a lot of capacity.
Yeah, a lot of needed capacity.
Yeah, that's good. Usually you don't jump up that from 36 to 72.
Yeah.
60 could go to 72. Told you I was going to nerd out for a second.
That's why this is the greatest show on earth. I mean, we get excited
Yeah, well,
about pipes. Really, you know, I mean, that's us.
That's why you guys are perfect.
Right.
Doing great service to the county, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Messiah, any questions? Commissioner Bolton, any questions? Okay. Again, Reggie, thank you for the work your team is doing.
Absolutely.
These dollars are important, and it's important the residents see that it's being put to work. So I hope that you guys can videotape, camera, get WSB, 11 Alive.
Absolutely.
Get all
Absolutely.
all them there to let them know that the county's actually very productive, getting a lot of good usage out of the public dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a heavy lift. The team's been at it for quite some years. I'm just benefiting from presenting it to you guys. Some of our key consultants are here today in case we got into a pretty deep dive. But yeah, no, it's exciting.
In case I really nerded out.
So yeah, no, we're pretty excited. It's an exciting time for the county.
Okay. Don't leave just yet. Seeing no other questions or comments, let's open up the floor for a motion.
Motion to approve agenda item ending in 0103.
Second.
All right, we've got a proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Reggie, I just want to comment that I got an email from a resident in District 1 with nothing but compliments for your team. There was a fire hydrant that started leaking over the weekend with the cold weather. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to call it the specific employee just yet unless there's any reason not to. But they were ecstatic, absolutely in love with the Department of Watershed Management and the staff and the individuals that are on the ground getting things done. They observed and noted that the staff was in the cold water working to get their neighborhood taken care of. So I just want to say personally from District 1, thank you very much for your team. Thank you very much for your leadership. Of course, CEO and COO as well are in that as well, but thank you. It takes a lot to find employees that are truly dedicated and motivated, and I'm glad that DeKalb County has them, and I'm glad they're in watershed management, so thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for recognizing, the public. It is definitely a lot of commitment, and it's a time where public service is even becoming more difficult. So it's great to have that encouragement from the public, because it is sometimes a thankless job.
Yes.
Especially coming from a department that typically bills its customers. But you know, yeah, I tell you, it's definitely a privilege to represent the men and women who are committed to this. Most of them have dedicated a great deal of their life and sacrificed a great bit to do this for some time, and it's, you know, it's very humbling to represent and be a part of it.
And I don't remember all the names, but is it Kawana that sends us emails at any time of the night, letting us know there's a water failure?
There's a
Thank
host
you to your
of
team
them.
as well that keep up.
We're a
with us.
24-hour operation, and you know, we rotate, and,
Yep.
and yeah, it's definitely it's a 700-person show behind
Oh, Lord.
what you see standing before you guys.
Okay.
We stay at it.
Well, thank you very much,
Yeah.
and thank all of your teams, even the people I didn't mention. Thank you for your efforts. We really appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for recognizing.
Okay. Yep. Director Wells, thank you. If I could call Mr. Allen. Commissioner, so we've gone through our agenda. We have a few minutes left. This is an idea that I had brought up when we were going through the throes of adopting the Stormwater Master Plan, and the urgency of adopting the plan was greater than my big idea. We're coming back to my big idea, though. And essentially, the idea is, or the concern is that stormwater problems are so large and can be so financially expensive that no individual homeowner and at times no individual neighborhood can handle it on their own. And so the idea is take some of the findings of our Stormwater Master Plan and see if there's a way that we can encourage maybe provide some technical resources so that residents, homeowners can band together and come up with a way to repair the problems that they have in their neighborhood, as well as talk about how to pay for it, which will be it's always the tough nut to crack, is those great ideas, how do you pay for it? And with that, Mr. Allen, if I can ask you to step up and let us know or remind us of what you would put together for us back in March of 2025.
Be happy to. Good afternoon to the PWI committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this brief opportunity to speak with you all about this opportunity in front of you all to take into consideration what Commissioner Patrick had initially drafted as it relates to what he just discussed, a petition-driven process to address stormwater issues and deficiencies in DeKalb County neighborhoods. What Commissioner Patrick has initially started is located on page 6 of the document that's provided in front of you in the appendix section. And what it is essentially a 5-step process that neighborhoods will walk through in conjunction and partnership with the county to address some of those stormwater issues. So I'll briefly discuss those 5 points, discuss what you all have in front of you, which is the memorandum that staff drafted a few months ago regarding our thoughts to this, and then we'll move forward with recommending, or our recommendations, which will include a draft ordinance to the county code, which we can, we'll be more than happy to draft up, discuss internally with some of the county partners, our leadership, and possibly have the county's consultant, Arcadis, also review that ordinance and, go from there. So as it relates to, again, page 6 in front of you, the steps that Commissioner Patrick has laid out is that, when neighborhood-wide issues are identified, a majority of the property owners, is kind of midway through your document, a majority of the property owners impacted would need to identify those deficiencies and then work with the county to document and characterize the extent of those issues or those problems. Secondly, the county would make a basic preliminary assessment of the likely extent of the survey, design, evaluation, and planning work needed to recommend the needed solutions to address some of those deficiencies, whether it's flooding or other issues that are happening. Could be pipes, infrastructure damage, et cetera. That would also include an estimate of, or a likely estimate of the project budget. Thirdly, a majority of the property owners would sign petitions, and per the ordinance, would be responsible for a certain percentage of the project cost that would be applied as a lien on individual properties and assessed collectively within that neighborhood. Fourthly, the Board of Commissioners would then determine whether or not to accept the petition, similar to how you do with many other petition processes within the county, and then approve the funding for the preliminary planning and engineering studies needed to prepare the concept level set of studies. And then lastly, the final step, roughly, other than determining the funding source, et cetera, the final step in a nutshell would be if those property owners involved, as well as the county, agree on a recommended solution, the capital budget, the project budget, et cetera, the necessary easements, then the BOC would adopt that petition district, could be a special tax district, and then instruct or work with the Public Works Department to proceed with the capital project delivery. So there would need to be a delineation of cost sharing and all those mechanisms included. As it's stated here, yes, the county would reimburse its share per the district terms and conditions, the petition district terms and conditions, and the relevant funding sources involved in the project. There would be ongoing inspections by the county as well as these improvements are made, and there would be a routine 4 or 5 year schedule to ensure that the condition and performance of the system is meeting its designated level of service standard. So that's the very broad, basic proposal that was provided by Commissioner Patrick. Staff took a look at that, identified some main strengths regarding that proposal. We love the community engagement aspects. The adoption within the county ordinance would be a way to specifically create a standardized process for the county and also fit possibly within Chapter 25 of the county's code that addresses stormwater. So Article 5 of that, there could be an addendum to the county code. Targeted solutions, cost-sharing mechanisms, funding sources are all outlined within Commissioner Patrick's overall strategy, as well as the long-term maintenance. Now, we've also identified a few of those challenges that may be, that we need to work through, right? And those are some of the conversations that I would anticipate the county having internally. So not only do we need to identify how these projects will be ranked or prioritized, we could utilize the current system that is in the Stormwater Master Plan. And that system uses a scorecard, a CIP rating or ranking scorecard. We use that for our public properties. We could utilize that for our private properties, just using a very similar scorecard to address neighborhood level issues, because not every neighborhood is built the same, frankly. We could also implement a sliding scale cost sharing mechanism based off those property values or the household income. So this would promote equity within the plan. We can discuss more within that, but looking at different models within guidelines for income verification, similar to how we use for the DeKalb CARES program, HUD definitions for specific neighborhood level incomes, and as well as exploring federal and state grant programs designed for disadvantaged communities, because this can be extremely expensive. Let's see, prioritization of areas with documented histories of flooding. And as I turn the page, looking at any main last points, just funding for maintenance will be a challenge as well. So it's not specified within the exact proposal how those mechanisms will be funded for maintenance, but keeping it broad allows us the opportunity to discuss internally.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So our staff recommendations are twofold. One, establish a dedicated maintenance fund within the stormwater utility to cover some of the long-term costs of these residential projects. As you all are more than aware, since 2023, we've had some incremental increases in the stormwater utility for the county. That has helped us from a master plan figure out how to address some of the structural issues as a county, infrastructure issues as a county. But as we move forward, it would be, I think, prudent to establish within that some type of maintenance fund to help fund this project. And then lastly, incorporate maintenance costs into the initial project budget during the identification of that cost sharing between the residents of the county. So at the on-site, make it extremely clear. Those are really staff's thoughts on that. Again, we just want to have this forum as an initial discussion, and then move forward with drafting the ordinance so that we can put it in front of the necessary parties for movement for the entire board.
All right, thank you, Mr. Allen. Appreciate those comments. Zach, do you have anything you'd like to add before we open up to the commissioners?
Just thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Marcus, for the discussion. This is something that so happens we have been working on and are preparing to bring forward, probably in the matter of the next 30 days, something that addresses primarily the issue of the private, properties that we're calling, kind of a public-private issue. We find in many instances where we have stormwater going from the county's pipes through private back onto other county pipes where,
Right.
The residents simply can't afford to address the issue and is causing a problem, a public safety, public health problem. So for the past, 6-7 months, we've been working in earnest. So I think we've come up with something that's going to address a number of these issues. So we look forward to sitting down with Marcus, seeing if we can put our heads together. Probably checks off a number of the issues that have been identified.
Fantastic. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes. And thank you, Commissioner Patrick, for doing this work, because there is stormwater. I've said this before. We put a lot of focus recently on water and sewer, but stormwater is right there.
It is.
And
yeah.
it's going to take a lot of money to fix the problems that collectively have been ignored. And just a lot of the pipe is getting at the end of its lifetime, so anticipated lifetime. So it's time for us to really take a hard look and really focus on fixing some of these items. So I appreciate this start. I just wanted to make clear, so the work that would be completed by county contractors, correct?
Yes, the county contractors could complete that work, or the county could work with that specific neighborhood to identify a third party, so have a public-private partnership in that regard. But it would need to be laid out in the contract terms of who exactly would
Okay.
do
And I know
those
some
assessments and then work.
Sorry.
Yep.
I know some jurisdictions have on-call or standby engineering, and it may be the county doesn't make a specific recommendation, but says these are the people that have been approved on our standby list, and it may be something that group of residents chooses to go with or go independently.
Okay, that could work. That makes sense. I think my other question or comment, we'll comment first. I did like the thought process of trying to make sure that there is equity built in, because we are going to get a lot of the older neighborhoods where the values are lower, the incomes may be lower,
Yeah.
but the problem is just the same.
Yep.
So looking at a sliding scale, I think is a good way to try and approach that. And also you can approach it with data and facts that are defendable.
Yep.
And then for the funding for the maintenance, page 4, number 4, Mr. Allen was just saying incorporate maintenance costs into the initial project budget. So if we're incorporating overall maintenance costs into the project budget, then do those costs go into a fund that we can draw down when maintenance is needed?
I think that's the way that, it's been drafted, is that, preliminary cost assessments are made, project budgets are determined, capital projects budgets are determined for the individual neighborhood, and it goes into what would be the drawdown from the county, and whether that's a stormwater fee. Again, one of our recommendations is specifying that specific drawdown amount. think Commissioner Patrick laid out a few different funding mechanisms, including the stormwater utility, as noted, CBDG funds, the general fund, SPLOS funds, GFA grants, loans, et cetera. So those are kind of the pull-down options. My immediate thought is stormwater utility, but again, it's open to discussion with some of our experts and partners.
Understood, thank you. I look forward to hearing and seeing what COO Williams mentioned and how that can integrate into this and just make sure we're really accomplishing what we need to accomplish. But thank you for bringing this back before us.
Thank you. One of the funding ideas that was not mentioned, because there's some challenges that go with it, but there is the Brownfields Grant Program. But those are typically done to large investors or developers. But if there was a way that we could somehow tweak the grant fund or the grant program to be modified for, I don't know, HOAs or entire neighborhoods or individual parcels within a study area, I think that may be an option. But again, that's something that I hope we can get fleshed out through the conversations as we move forward. One of the big challenges, admittedly, with that is the gratuity clause within the state constitution. So we'll need our legal team to help us stay safe.
Of course. And then I was just thinking too, I met with Dr. Ferguson yesterday and we were going through what he's going to present to us soon. And one of those items being home repair programs.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of these smaller issues where it may be one individual homeowner that is having an issue on their property with a sinkhole or a ditch or something, I wonder if a stormwater repair could be eligible in that program as well.
That's a great question. Just to hop into the PEX lane, Madam Chair, I apologize. Another component to that will be, a lot of the houses that we have, and this is north to south, are older, and the original water and sewer lines that went into the home, particularly the sewer lines, are failing. I think it's called I&I.
I know.
And that is a concern because it's on the private property side. And so hopefully Dr.
That's
Ferguson
true.
has a approach or a consideration for that as well, because I think that's going to be another big issue that as we go through storm or water and sewer with the courts, that's going to be another thing that we end up getting tagged responsibility with, I suspect. So.
And I think that's also a good point because typically as we've talked about those home repair programs, we're thinking roofs or windows or something more tangible, but sometimes that their quality of life is really impacted by something in the ground. And,
Absolutely.
there's really no other mechanism that they may be able to tap into. So I like having that conversation and trying to expand that as well.
Okay, I feel like if we got the engineer on board, we got to get the lawyers on board. So Commissioner Messiah.
Oh, I'm right here. That's exactly what I was going to get to. First, I want to start by saying I'm glad that we came back to this.
Okay.
I will say that earlier on in being a part of PWI, and I'm not the geeky, scientific nerd, not at all. I don't even want to play one on TV. So, it is the social and, that aspect of the service that really strikes it for me. And so as we were passing the plan, you mentioned we were going to come back to it, but we wanted to go ahead and move it forward as we were dealing with, some of the water challenges. So thank you for your leadership and making sure that we came back to, this point so that we can, consider how, some of the stormwater is impacting some of our communities, our folks, particularly in older homes.
Absolutely.
And homes that are, with a lot of seniors and have challenges in terms of getting repairs done. For a myriad of reasons. So that being said, the lawyer is jumping in.
All right, let's hear it.
And so my first thing I wrote down is just a suggestion that we do a mitigation along with their petition. One of the terms of condition be something in and around a mitigation responsibility. All right, that they have to be responsive in a certain time frame, or in terms of notifying us. Just they have to try to mitigate the cost primarily since, we anticipate doing some funding components, and albeit they'll be doing some as well. that they have to do their job and their responsibility to try to help. I mean, we had a constituent who kept reaching out and allowing things to just get worse until it became a bit of a challenge trying to get off and, onto her property. And so, we were trying to think and speaking with COO, what can we do to help? Because, of course, we're here to serve and try to do what we can. But there was an opportunity for that constituent to do things that would have mitigated and made it less expensive, to be quite frank. So I think that's an important piece of it.
Okay.
But then also the hold harmless. I'm glad that Marcus mentioned, how the contractors were going to come about, whether the county would be hiring them or whether or not, the constituent would. But, to the extent that, they're hiring and we might be making a referral or suggestion that there's some way to hold us harmless, particularly if, the claim is getting worse and it's got worse and it's all our fault and it wasn't like, so just something in that language to protect us. And that's it. So I appreciate it. And with that, I yield back to you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Again, thank you both professionals in your own fields for putting your eyes on this. I'm grateful. Dr. Bolton, there's not much chemistry here, but I'd love to have any comments you got as well.
It isn't quite stormwater related, but just in the conversation, one of the things I wanted to bring up that we've been seeing a little bit more of when it comes to those aging systems, we still have community members on septic.
Yep.
And especially our older community members, they've been looking for support or help in making that transition, and it's come up whether there are any environmental or health risks associated, which is essentially for them creates a sense of urgency. Nothing proven, I want to, make that clear, but just the fear of whether there's any environmental or health risk, the sense of urgency to get support in order to make that transition, because currently it's on the owner.
It is.
And it's private,
Yeah.
So.
And it's expensive.
And it's very expensive, so that came to mind when considering the discussion here for this project.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Johnson may empathize or sympathize with this. It's phenomenally expensive to dig a hole, put something in it, and fill it.
The dirt to fill it is usually so much more.
Right.
And so to Commissioner Bolton's point and what the conversation we were having just a little bit ago about the home repair programs, adding septic to that as well, because sometimes it could be as simple as needing to just pump the septic system out. But again, that's very cost prohibitive for some of our residents. So I think if we can consider including some of those items when that does come before us, I think that can really have an impact on our residents.
To your point, there was a District 1 resident who paid a plumber to switch him from septic to sewer, and he switched him from septic to the street.
Oh.
And so if the county would consider perhaps a list of plumbers that are capable to work on septic to sewer conversions. Other counties do it. I know DeKalb, we're a bit unique on how we do things, but it would be worth a consideration to the administration to look into something like that where they've been through some vetting process to become a bidder or to be on our short list for emergency plumbing repairs as well. And then that list could be also shared with the residents to say, they've at the very least been through the county's vetting process. No 100% guarantees on the hold harmless component, but here's someone you could rely on.
And at least someone that we know would do their due diligence and not try and tell someone, yeah, I can switch you off from septic and
Right.
there's no public sewer available.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. Yeah, great question,
That's a good question.
Dr. Bolton. Well, it's at the saddest part of our day. Yes, it is the saddest part. Again, I want to thank my colleagues. Commissioner Bolton, thank you for being here as well. You're always invited as well as the rest of the commissioners as well. That said, I'll open the floor up for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
See you in 2 weeks.